Trying to find my tea. The pitfall of shiny things and the promise of when you buy, and you look, we've all been there, right? When you buy a new notebook, a new diary, a new pen, something new, even a new cleaning product, something new that brings with it the promise of productivity, the promise of this time, we're going to nail this, we're going to get it done. In last week's episode, we spoke about habits, making them stick. And I said something that I know that a lot of you found very poignant, which was imagine if every single habit that you'd ever set out wanting to achieve, you'd stuck to, and how very different all of our lives would look right now. And I know obviously we don't live in a perfect world. So obviously there's some things that are going to fall off. But how many of us, and I am totally including me, have thought that a new pen, a new book, a new journal, something was the missing ingredients? It was the fault of us not having that new shiny thing that meant we were not achieving our goals. Because there is something almost magical about a brand new notebook or planner, like the crisp, blank white pages that are yet to be filled in. They bring with them a sense of possibility that is extremely alluring, and that can spark excitement, and it gives us that elusive motivation. We speak all the time, don't we, about the difference between motivation and momentum. Motivation is very fleeting. It's like the spark that ignites the action, but it doesn't really ever hang around for very long. If we're lucky, it can hang around for a little bit, but more often than not, it falls off and it's fickle and it goes and finds someone else to inspire. It is the momentum that sticks around and does the daily grind, the hard work to get the stuff done. So all these new things, they bring with them that spark of motivation, that spark of excitement, and that I can get this done feeling. But and there's always a but, isn't there? Underneath that spark of newness and motivation, there also lies this darker underbelly, like a paradox, in that it can actually keep us stuck. It can hold us captive. In a cycle of new beginnings, I want to start again. How many of us have been stuck in that? I'm just going to start again. I'm going to throw all this out. I'm going to throw this system out. I'm going to throw this routine out. I'm going to start again. The problem is the routine, not the lack of momentum. Spoiler alert, it's usually the lack of momentum. Instead of propelling us forward, these shiny things, whether it's a new cleaning product, a new notebook, or whatever it is, can sometimes hold us back. So as humans, we are naturally drawn, I think, sometimes to novelty, to like that ooh feeling. New notebooks, empty canvases, they smell fresh. And that hope that with this one new tool, that the one thing that you've been waiting to come into your life will finally able to feel organized, calm, productive, and in control. But sometimes that hopium can be a trap, and we become addicted to that hope. And when that newness, that novelty, and that first initial shine dulls away, it can leave us feeling a little bit flat. And then we go in search of that next hit of hopium, of that next hit of newness. And there we are going off to buy a brand new journal. I feel like I'm picking on journals a little bit, but I'm picking that because it's a universal thing that I think a lot of us can identify with. But this can apply to anything, like a way of eating, exercise routine. Pretty soon, the newness will wear off. And at that point, you will always have a choice. Do I stick and carry on and feed this momentum and actually finish what I started? Or do I go all the way back to the beginning and find something else that is going to give me that fresh hit of excitement so that I feel like I can start again? Because I think we want to abandon the messy, abandon the grind, and just go back to a clean slate. It is so appealing to so many of us, isn't it? I think it's just like human nature. I think if we're really honest with ourselves, ask yourself this, right? It's an icky question for me as well. Is that allure of starting again just a nice, convenient way of actually avoiding the real work? Is it like, oh no, it's not me it's not me not maintaining momentum. That's not the problem here. The problem is the system. The problem is the notebook. The problem is that it was ruled, it was lined, and I wanted those nice little dots, or they were blank pages, and what I wanted was a grid alignment, right? It just keeps us trapped, and it's convenient because it's a nice little cop-out, isn't it? It's just like, oh, that was why. It wasn't me. It was the system. Because it is really difficult. Consistency is hard work. It's so easy to be like, just stay consistent. I say it all the time. in my job, the most important thing here is consistency, not beautiful laid out plans or anything like that. Consistency is actually messy. Consistency requires dedication. It requires showing up when you don't feel like it. It requires putting in the work when you're angry, frustrated, tired. And I think as humans, if there's a way for us to get out of that and blame the unwillingness to sit in that discomfort and that frustration and the just sheer, I don't want to get this done today. If there's a way for us to get out of that, then our brains will choose the path of least resistance and go, I just need a new notebook. And then you have this procrastination disguised as productivity. And I recognize myself so much in this. I fall in fact, I have notes written in several places. I can fall into the trap so often of falling into a new content strategy or a new way to build my business or this new shiny routine that is going to cut 5 hours off your content workflow. I can waste hours every single week. If I find myself falling into this procrastination, productivity disguised as procrastination trap, I'll get nothing done. And I just say to myself, Jem, just pick a thing. Just pick a routine. So for you, this could be that you've tried loads of different cleaning routines over the years. You tried to develop your own. And you're always looking for that elusive one that is going to feel easy. It's going to take no time at all. It's going to keep your house looking like a show home. That's not realistic unless you want to spend hours doing that. So you abandon a routine and you go and find another one. Instead of sitting with the fact and acknowledging the fact that in order for you to achieve that goal of that house that feels right for you, that workflow that feels right for you, the key ingredient is the work, and you are the driver of the work. It's not how shiny your notepad is. It's not consistently starting over again, because you will get stuck in that loop and you will never get anything done. And then you will start to fall behind, which none of us want to do. And then there's also that icky thing. And I think this applies to me in my fitness thing that I'm doing at the moment. And I know I speak about it all the time. I've got fitter, I've lost quite a lot of weight, and that was the intention. I was going through menopause and I thought I have to change something here because I didn't like how I was feeling and I was feeling really sluggish. And I've turned everything on its head. And I've been working with Chloe, who's an amazing PT. And if you follow me on my Instagram, I talk about it all the time. There are times when I do the same 4 strength workouts every week that we've tweaked now and then, but more often than not, it's the same one over and over again, because we're building strength, we're building consistency, we're building on what we've done. And it can get boring doing the same thing, but that's where the progress comes. But also, I have not got long left until I reach my goal weight. And I'm starting to self-sabotage myself, because I'm thinking, oh, well, how many times have we told ourselves things will be better, or I will do that when X, Y, Z, when I have decluttered the living room, when I have lost that weight, when I finally fit into those jeans, that will be the solution for my life. And then as you get closer and closer to that goal, you start to realize, might just be me, you start to realize that that's not necessarily true. When you get to that goal, it's quite scary, because you've got nothing to hide behind anymore. Because when you're hiding behind something, it can feel safe. It's your comfort zone. It's a really familiar pattern. So breaking that pattern can feel uncomfortable. So if someone just waves a nice shiny routine or a nice notebook and you're feeling a bit bored, is this getting a little bit difficult? Let's start again. It's really tempting to be like, yes, let's start again, and not acknowledging the progress that you have already made. Even if it has been icky, messy progress, it is still progress. So you're completely wiping the slate clean without having to deal with sometimes the discomfort that comes with growth and the discomfort that sometimes comes with achieving your goals. So how can we break free then of this pattern that you might feel stuck in, of consistently starting again? So the first thing is to recognize what it is you've already done. If you feel that pull, that temptation to be like, I am just going to start again now, I just feel like I need to start afresh, recognize how far you've actually come. What have you actually achieved on the current system, whether it's a housework system, a fitness journey, whatever it is, right? How much have you actually achieved? Because sometimes we can forget all of that in the noise. We can forget how those little steps that in the day, in the moment, didn't feel like a lot, but when they add up, they can actually be quite a lot of progress. So sit down, work that out first. You might surprise yourself. And then focus on what you already have. We hear it all the time. You don't need to buy something new. You're just going to add to the clutter in your home. You're buying work. That's how I look at it. You are buying work for yourself. Use what you have. Do you have a half empty notebook? I've got 2 notebooks in there where I fell for the trap. I've got a blue one and I've got a gorgeous burgundy one, which is the color of the season. And I was trapped into buying that one. And they're half full. I kind of do use them as a rolling like content idea thing. One of the things that I like to do is turn it back to front and upside down and go from the back to the middle. It's a nice way of using up paper. You're saving money, you're saving waste, and you are reducing clutter from buying something new. You're not buying yourself work. And then obviously really come to peace, really get into the nitty gritty of realizing that you have to accept progress over perfection. You have to accept that this isn't going to be a lovely linear upward line of progress. It will look like this. As long as the main theme is progress and getting to, that's all that matters. But there will be peaks and troughs. We talk about this all the time. So realize that it's not going to be opening this new notebook and it's tick every day 100% productivity. There might be days when you don't fill in anything in and it's just a blank day, and that's fine. Just keep on going, using what you have. And do what I do. Recognize patterns. So I know that when I'm getting frustrated, when things aren't moving as fast as I want them to, when I'm falling into familiar patterns of that didn't work quite the way I expected it to, that's it, I need a new system. Recognize that pattern. Have a little word with yourself and be like, no, because that's going to take us back to square one, isn't it? Things don't always go the way we want. It might not have been as much progress as you wanted it to be, but it was still progress. So recognize those familiar patterns, put little things in place that are going to stop you falling into that starting all over again trap. Maybe write somewhere in your notes app, somewhere that you go to and read, a little note for yourself that you'll appreciate when you're in that moment. Write one and go back and read it just to help you stay the course. And of course, there's a time for everything, and new beginnings can be exciting. And I think this particular time of year, as we've got rid of the freshness, the newness of September and the back to school and the weather changing and summer's coming to an end, we're kind of through that. We're into mid-October and the shininess might be wearing off of September, and you might be thinking, I need another new notebook, or I need to start all over again. That can all be very exciting. Starting all over again can be very exciting, but I want you to remember this. Lasting change does not come from shiny new things being put in or added in or bought regularly. Lasting change just comes from putting the work in. So what you kind of need to do is find a system or a notebook or a routine or a method, whatever it is, that fits realistically into your life, realistically into your personality and how you like to do things. Work with what you've got. Keep on going. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. There will be scribbles. There will be crossed outness. There will be messy pages. But how lovely to be able to look back on all of that progress and see that as part of this tapestry of how you have achieved that goal, rather than just pressing delete, Control Alt Delete and starting again, because you lose all of that history. So next time, and it could be today, maybe this has stopped you from buying your 15th notebook of the month, I don't know. Next time you feel that, just remember, ask yourself the question, do I really need this new shiny thing? Or is this just another mechanism for me to start over again because the real work is a little bit icky? Just something to think about.